Hi, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm absolutely delighted to welcome you on behalf of NAPA. This event today is part of our celebrations for the National Day of Arts in Care Homes, which is an annual event now in its fourth year, taking place this Saturday, the 24th of September. Today, we're really excited to be joining Shula from Vibrant Communities and Eric, who's an artist, Eric Robinson, who's going to tell us a little bit about his practice and hopefully share some of his artwork with us. So over to the two of you.
Cheers. Thank you very much, Alison. So I'm from Vibrant Communities and we run online sessions for people who live in care homes across the UK. And we have an art club on Monday afternoons, and we usually have a different topic or theme or artist that we look at. Sometimes the V&A does them, sometimes other galleries, and sometimes one of our own team. And Eric has been a keen member pretty much the whole time we've done it. And everybody really enjoys the sessions for the wonderful stories that Eric shares and his brilliant experience as an artist. So I thought it would be pretty topical in this period of doing arts in care homes to actually think about art residents who create art, or artists and residents who live in care homes. And Eric is just a fantastic example of this. So Eric is living in Grosvenor House on the south coast. And I thought we might start by asking how you got into art, or what kind of age you were when you discovered your love for art.
Yes, well, I started actually at 4 years of age. And I'd never seen anybody, as far as I know, actually drawing. And around the home, we had lots of exercise books and pencils. And we had this beautiful book of dogs, beautifully illustrated. And I can remember sitting by our open fire on the coal box at the side, a lovely little seat there. And I started to copy these. And my mother was quite excited by it. She was quite amazed because I'd probably never seen anybody do it. I just wanted to do it, and it just came naturally. And from that moment, I just kept copying things out of every. Later on, it was the newspapers, the comic strips, the cartoon on the evening papers and everything. I used to like certain one, a man called Lee. And I used to copy all these out, and this is how I started. And then it came into actually Mickey Mouse comic later on. And I used to copy out from all the characters from their films. And it was interesting because, and this is quite interesting because I realize it. Everybody says, "Oh, I love the color in your paintings," and that. And the reason is it comes from Walt Disney, Technicolor films, and the beautiful Technicolor thing. And on these films, these characters really come to life beautifully. We don't see anything quite like it today on television, but it's obviously subconscious in me, and it comes out in my work. And it's just one. And I used to copy from the Mickey Mouse comic. And I used to send it in to the editor and tell him I wanted to be a cartoonist for Walt Disney. This was one of the things about it, yeah. So, but he's actually, Walt Disney has had a profound effect on my life, my early life. Even got me into the film business.
I was going to say, where did you actually end up?
Well, it started because I went with my brother. I was 5. You're supposed to be 7, but my brother got me, and being older, to the Saturday morning matinees for children. Now, in those days, of course, I'd never seen a motion picture. And at any rate, up on the screen came this logo for RKO Radio Pictures, and then a picture of Mickey Mouse. And then it started off this cartoon. It's wonderful. And I said to my brother, "Aren't they wonderful up there?" He said, "No, they're not up there." He said, "They're back up there." And he pointed to the projectionist box, the screen from there. And this cascade of beautiful colours coming down. And from that moment, I wanted to know how to do it. I can't explain why, but I just wanted to know how to do it. And when I got home and I told my father, and he said to me, he said, I have a magic lantern lens that I had as a boy. I don't have the magic lantern, but with a shoebox, we put this magic lantern, this lens into this shoebox, and we had a torch behind, and he had just a strip. He'd been on a training film for something, and he had a strip of 35mm images, and he projected them under the table. And I projected them actually, and got it into focus. But I don't know if I can show you, but I've illustrated it.
Oh, fantastic.
Uh,
I was going to say that image has already come to life in my head.
Oh, yeah.
Lovely to see.
Underneath the table, and using the blackout curtains from the war to give it a blackness. But nothing in my life can compare with that moment. Extremely get an image like that is just the thing that is just amazing what happened. I don't think I can find it. It's too far away.
And that led to a career in film.
Oh, and well, I just wanted to be in films. I just love the idea of being behind the camera. And the reason for that, I couldn't, everybody told me, well, you'll never get in because, like I was mentioning earlier on about Jack Cardiff, nepotism is rife and they want to get their sons and daughters in. And if you haven't got anybody in the business, which I didn't, but I taught myself to develop and print film when I was 8. Mostly my stuff in life, I've taught myself in any case. Yeah, I've done that. Anyway, I wrote round to all the studios and nothing seemed to happen. I went to the studio gates, asked to see the head of the camera department, and nothing was forthcoming. And then one of my letters I got from National Studios, which is today the BBC Elstree Centre at Elstree. And I went in and I met the man who was head of the camera department, Terry Turtle. And he said, I see from your letter, he said that you're a photographer and had experience. I said, yes, I have. And he said, I see you can develop and print film. And I said, well, he said, I've got 2 rolls of film here. We've got a lovely dark room just round the corner. And he gave me these 2 rolls of film. Well, I knew this film, Ilford, a beautiful black and white film, FP3 and HP3 film. He took me along to this dark room, and next to it was the stills room. Every film in those days used to have a stills photographer for the display of photographs outside the cinema. And the assistant in there made up the developer and got the right temperature and everything for me, and the fixer. And I developed these 2 sets of films, and I went back to tell the head of the camera department while they were washing carefully. And he said to me, can you do enlargements? And I said, yes, I can do enlargements. So he said, we've got a whole series of different papers, glossy, fine, anything you want there. There's all there. And pick out what you think are the right ones for that. And I did this, took them back to him. He said, right, I want you to be here at 8:30. This was on a Friday. I want you to be here at 8:30 on a Monday morning. And that was it. That was it. I was in. And within 3 days, this was extraordinary because I was just 15. And normally when you go in, the boys wait for a couple of years in the post department waiting for something to happen when they get a chance to go into the different departments. Anyway, within 3 days, I was putting the clapperboard in before one of the biggest stars in the world, Douglas Fairbanks Jr.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's how it all started.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah. I think you seem to always have taught yourself how to do things.
I'm better at teaching myself than anybody teaching me. Yeah. No doubt about it. Yeah, I pick it up much quicker. And it's just one of those things that you do. But yeah, that's how my life has been. And of course, all the time, I've always been painting when I'm on location. I'm always sketching and everything. I've got so many sketches and everything. I've got sketches of my time at that studio. being on the set and everything there. But I've got so many of them, you know. I've done I've done thousands. I had to leave when I came here. I was well over 1,000 pictures and drawings and drawing books and everything that I had to leave. I couldn't bring them all down here with me. So that's the way it's gone.
But you still create artworks now where you live?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah. So should I start showing you something?
I would love to see some of them. Yeah, I think that would be a good place to.
This was one of our residents. Unfortunately, she is now passed away. But I used to go and sit and chat with her. And while I was chatting with her, I did this.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And what did you use to make this?
That's just done with charcoal.
Charcoal.
And chalk. And wait a minute. And this lady passed away within a year or so here. Everybody knew her so well. I think she was about 95, 96 when she died. But this is just a recent one. I've done a portrait of her.
Wow. Oh, that's wonderful. And what materials were you using for that?
I'm using watercolor for that.
Watercolor.
That's a watercolor picture. Yeah, that's a watercolor picture.
Mm.
She's very, very like person here. And when I first came into the home, I did this. This was the first sketch I did when I was in here. And I've put myself in the picture. I had to guess how I looked. But this is our dining room here.
Oh, fabulous.
The one sitting with his back to you isn't supposed to be me.
Ah, okay. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. I think that's one of the things that struck me when I first started seeing some of these sketches is it suddenly made me realize it's quite rare that we see drawings inside care homes, or even very much at all, really. It tends to be quite a sort of closed door thing, and we don't get to see inside care homes. So it's so wonderful to see your sketches and see your artwork that really captures, you know, your experience of where you live.
Oh yes, it's definitely here. And this is another one of the residents here in our dining room at evening meal.
Mm.
Most of it is actually done there on the spot. But of course, as an artist, you have to have a very good memory.
Mm.
If you're going out doing a landscape, for instance, you can get the main parts in, but you can't paint necessarily to get that all done outside. If you want to do a painting, most artists will go back to the studio. Therefore, you've got to have a memory, a good memory. Unfortunately, I have to be able to do that, to carry it on and do it. But here's an example of one that I did out on our terrace. That's it. Now, this is the residents sitting out on our terrace of a morning.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, there were.
And is that a pencil sketch?
That's a pencil sketch, and that was done actually while they were sitting there.
Mm.
And this also was done while I was sitting in our lounge. And what's interesting, you see, is when you're doing a good portrait is the person's body, the way they sit. Now you look how they're sitting, all in different positions.
Yeah, it's really the thing that strikes you.
Who it is.
Mm.
Tell you in a portrait, a good portrait, how they are, and that's another one. This was a recent one where we had everybody. This was during lockdown when everybody was very miserable, and we all went and consoled each other in our lounge and talking about how we could escape.
You were plotting your escape.
yeah, but it brings on and another one, and sort of tried to capture it almost cartoon-like, and the mood that people were in. I tried to picture it here, the mood, how miserable it was.
Mm,
And it was
mm,
very, very upsetting, the whole thing.
mm.
Yeah, you have that.
It's such
And,
a wonderful thing to be able to capture these moments, though, because
oh yeah,
otherwise other people might not know. We weren't able to go in, we weren't able to see it ourselves. And you
yeah.
captured so beautifully the mood.
And this is a Swedish gentleman who was here,
Mm,
and at the breakfast table, I just did this quick sketch of him sitting
wow,
at the breakfast table.
it's
Yeah,
absolutely wonderful.
yeah. And you know, and this is our breakfast in the dining room, and the lady who in the background in the centre, she is the lady. She's here today. Actually, she serves our breakfast and lunch for us each day. And with two of our residents, both of them have now passed away, unfortunately. But that's what it's like in the morning. You can see that she's got her mask on. But
Mm, yeah.
yeah. So,
And
uh,
real images of the pandemic.
oh yeah, yes. And a minute. There we go. Just give me a moment, and now we've got some ladies who sit outside. We've got a little patio out here, and this is a couple of them sitting outside. This is a quick watercolor I did
Mm.
of them sitting outside, and neither of them were feeling particularly happy. I can tell you by that, but I just caught it on the moment. Just did it quickly. I didn't even draw it. I just paint straight away with a brush.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's incredibly detailed for something that you just initially went
Yeah,
straight in with watercolor.
no detail. Actually, there's no detail.
No, it's all
No.
imagined.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh dear, it flipped by very quickly. That did. Yeah, this is the same lady again. And once again, it was just one. Oops. Yeah. Oh. That's it. There we are. And that also is done just with a brush quickly,
Wonderful.
because they're not there for any time, and that. And there's the same lady up in the top left of the picture, and another resident here. And this was during COVID, once again in our little patio area. Morning, you can see reading her
Wow,
paper.
that's really beautiful.
Yeah,
Reading the morning papers.
yeah.
What inspires you to paint and to create art?
What inspired me? I don't
Yes.
know. I can't tell you that. I just see pictures all the time, everywhere I go, thousands.
Mm,
Look out of my window here at the sea and I mean, I've seen millions and millions of paintings in the 5.5 years I've been here. I would never be able to paint them all. I'll never be able to paint them all. There's not enough time in life to do all the things I need to do. I need to live about another 300 or 400 years to start to get anywhere near it. Because that's how I see all the time. I see paintings in my mind all the time. You know, I do what I call mind paintings as well, which I haven't got here. But I'll show you some of the iPad work.
yeah, that would be brilliant. I was just going to ask you what kind of materials you enjoy working with.
Oh, I enjoy everything. I never know, and I never know what I'm going to pick up. I've got materials here, all different things. I've got acrylics, I've got oils, I've got oil pastels, I've got chalk pastels. I've got so much all the way around. Lots of watercolors, masses of brushes, everything. I could start up a shop. Yeah. Here's one of my. This is one of my early ones. I think I'd done about 2 little sketches, and then I found out how to do this on the iPad, on
That's
notes.
amazing. On notes.
On notes, yeah. And
What kind of inspired you to move over to using digital then?
It was watching David Hockney working on the iPad, and the thing about it is, there's nothing to teach you. You have to discover yourself. Oh dear, we get it back. Yeah, you have to really discover yourself how to do these things, and how to work out how to do a picture with it, because it's not straightforward. Here's another one. This is a memory one from near here, the Upper Hastings. That was one of the very. But I can do these in 20-25 minutes because I don't have to mix colours on it. I've got them all there.
Yeah, it's all fairly instant.
Yeah,
and the colours there are amazing. They pop out so clearly.
Yeah, there you
and
are.
That's an image that you kind of created from memory. It's not
yes.
done from a photo or anything.
No, that's completely. But this was from life. There.
Oh wow, it's incredible.
Down our lounge. I get anything and everything. As things come to me, I just put them down and try out to see what you can get. But with this iPad, the bigger one, you can do the most extraordinary things. But this is done with a very simple iPad 4. Let's see.
Just beautiful.
They're
so evocative.
And I think anything that comes to me, I do. Be at a particular moment and feel like and it just comes out of nothing. I can't explain that. It's just there. They just come out, and something at a particular time. But I've got a lot of them. This is a little homage to my parents. The circus ring. And wow.
That is so beautiful. Such incredible colours. I can see some comments coming up, by the way.
You can
see some comments coming up from people that are watching, and I've got these images, stunning. And there's a question as well. How many pictures do you create in a typical week? You seem to have created so much. There's a question of how often are you creating images?
Can't really say. I might get up in the early morning and put down a sketch of a painting I want to do. Something's come to me, and I will sit down and do it. It's just the way it happens. I can't explain that. But I mean, I've spent most of my life drawing, and you have many, many accumulated images in your mind, and parts of each of them might come out in a new creation. It's the only way I can really describe it. Because you do it. I mean, I'll give a demonstration on the iPad at some point for you to show you, because that's come from all the accumulated memories of things that I've done. And where I've learnt this in the main, I've spent 65 years going in the life class. And that's where you really learn, because you learn the art of looking, not what you know. Most people, when they start, they're doing a figure that they think is there, but they're not actually drawing the actual. When you start, it's very difficult to actually look. It's the looking. The more you look, the more you see. You can't go by what you know. That's great about painting. I would say that to anybody. You cannot go by what you know. If you're going out to do a landscape, you can get away with a tree and some grass and everything and that, and say that's that. But to actually look and the feeling, the mood, it's catching something about that mood and feeling that you had when you first saw it. And that's got to get in you. It's the only way. It's very difficult to put into words, but
I think that's beautifully done.
Yeah.
I think it's something you've brought up in our art club as well on Monday afternoons as well, is, the art of really being able to see not the symbol of what we think that is, the teapot or the chair or the table, but really, really, really looking And I think that is the artist's eye as well, isn't it? You know, actually being observant and noticing what is there.
Yes, oh, it's very important. And it was very interesting, just mentioning the life class I used to go to. The last one I went to, I was there for about, well, we're very good friends. She rings me up every now and again, the art teacher, Janet. And she said to me when I came here, she said, "You'll be in your element, Eric, won't you, during all these people?" And she's quite right, of course.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah, you've got life drawing all around you.
Oh, yeah. And I just give you one of my life class drawings, if you're interested.
Yes, please.
I won't give you the naughty ones. I'm not on.
Oh. I'll just say while you're finding that, Eric and I have sort of been seeing each other quite a lot on Monday afternoons for our art club. And I was cycling past Hastings one day. I live in London, but I'd gone for a little ride. And so I thought, I'll knock on the door. And I was able to go into Eric's room and see all these wonderful artworks that you've got. And it was such a great experience for me to be able to see all these beautiful things. You've got puppets that you're creating. You've got, you know, all sorts of paintings and drawings and, all these different materials. And it was really, really wonderful to come over.
Oh, well, here's one of them.
That's fantastic.
Class. Yeah, and I don't just draw the model. I like to be in situ of what's actually happening in the room. Most of them are just drawing the model. And the teacher, she used to say to me, she said, "Well, I know that when we're concentrating on the face or some hands today, I know that Eric will put in everything that's there."
I think it's lovely because otherwise you get these figures floating in space, whereas you can really see where these people are situated.
Yeah, you see, I put where it is, what's happening, and everything. Yeah, but that's where you really learn to draw. You really, really get the idea of it. But because if it's not right, it's just not right. It's as easily said, but not so easily done. But it is it's very very rewarding. I mean, you can do like this young man is a French chef, you see. Now, you don't have long to do this. This was done in 40 minutes. You have to be very quick. So it means you've got to look. You're looking more at the model than you are what you're drawing.
Yeah.
And
beautiful.
And if you see it, he's gone. Oh, he's gone somewhere. Oh yeah. No, but now look, if you see it in close up, you see it's done very quickly. You see that? You see it's done very quickly. And that's just charcoal and white chalk. I'm actually using my skill in these as a cameraman in films.
Tell me a bit more about that.
Tell
me how you're using those. How do those skills transfer?
Well, I used to do this for directors. I can do a quick sketch and get the lighting, how it might fall on a figure or something. Let's see.
Because you worked as what we might call now a director of photography.
Yeah, well, you see, I'm picking out the form, only what I need to see, what I'm making you see, not what's all there. It's not detail. It might look like detail, but it's not. I'm picking out the form with light, you see, and that's what you do. And it's the same. It's the same here. Yeah.
Beautiful seeing those tones.
Yeah. Well, it's the key to it all. Do it very quickly, and always more. Oh, there you go. Won't stay.
It's not behaving itself.
No. Well.
Oh, that is beautiful.
And she's a lovely model. She has a perfect classical nude figure. She is a beautiful woman, and absolutely, we were great friends from well over 30 years. Yeah, Tinker, she's lovely, lovely model. Holds a pose like no other I've ever seen. Wherever she is, she's just wonderful. But anyway, that's just a few of the sort of things I've done in the life class.
It's absolutely incredible. Could you give us a demonstration with your iPad to show us how you're making art on the iPad? And if anyone has any questions for Eric, please put them in the comments and I will ask Eric. We're getting a lot of comments, Eric, about how things like stunning, evocative images, fabulous pictures, loving the sunflowers. I've got a question from Hilary saying, will you do an exhibition, Eric? Perhaps of those pandemic pictures.
No, I don't like doing it. I've done exhibitions. I had 2 sellout exhibitions years ago, and I only did them for a friend in the film business. Actually, they were setting up a new gallery on the Pan Towers at Tunbridge Wells, and they were setting up their gallery, and they asked me if I would set it up for them because they knew I did some painting, and I did a whole lot of stuff I brought up for them, and I actually sold out. And then I did another one for them, but I don't like sitting, like I said to you maybe earlier on about that gallery, the Piccadilly Gallery. I don't sit in the gallery. My pictures speak for me.
Yeah.
I don't want. Either you see it or you don't. The old story: a picture tells 1,000 words. People go to the Royal Academy each year. What do? They look at the picture. And then they look at their catalogue. They read about it in their catalogue and move on to the next picture. They haven't looked at the picture. They're looking through the eyes of somebody who's telling you what it is. That's nothing to do with painting. You look at the artwork itself. The artwork.
And you use your own instincts.
Oh, yes, completely.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. I'm having trouble with this one. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3. Oh. Yeah. Now,
this is what program you're using as well.
Sorry?
Can you say what program is?
Yes, this is Notes, and this is an iPad 4, one of the older ones, right? And if you get there, you can, by tapping on the top there where you've got a pencil across the screen, and it comes up and you get a squiggly line and a camera. If you press the squiggly screen, at the bottom, you get these series of colours, right? Yeah. Now, if you swipe them across, you've got all the tones, from black through to white on the bottom, right? And then you can go, and then you get the secondary colours come in as well.
Oh, wonderful.
You see, like that. And then you've got 3 different things. You've got a pen, a pencil, a brush, and you've got a pencil. And you can work with all of these 3. And all I have to do is if I tap on the pen and I pick a colour, it doesn't matter what colour I pick, tap on there, it's now showing on the tip of that pen. And I can start now to draw. See? Oh, sorry. Was I getting that on there or not? Did you see that?
It would be great if we could bring it back up again.
Yeah, I did this. Wait a minute. It's difficult for me. That's better, isn't it?
Could you choose a darker colour, perhaps?
Yeah, wait a minute.
I think it's wonderful to be able to use these, use iPads and things. And as you said before, you don't need to mix colours. You don't have to, have all of these materials there. And you can capture things in the moment, whether that's an idea, a dream. I've seen a lot of your wonderful creative images as well, memories as well you've painted, or capturing the moment of, where you live.
He's picking this moment not to. Oh, right. We'll get back again. Right. I'll take black because that's bound to be able to be seen. And And this stylus, by the way, I bought in Poundland. I get 2 of them for a 150. And is that coming out all right? Or no? Can you see that? Sorry. Can you see it? No?
Yeah, we can just about see that now.
Now I can tap on a brush and bring in a colour.
Oh, yes.
See, wherever you want, right? I can come into some other ones. Sorry, it's difficult for me to, because of my leg problems,
Yeah.
get in the right position now.
Yeah, we can see that now, though.
Right. What have I done? There. I can do any of these colours or anything, but I start again because it's very difficult to do it in an angle.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Uh,
We don't make it easy for you.
no. Now, wait a minute. Now.
That's beautiful.
Wait a minute.
We've got Nettie asking, can you merge the colours too?
Oh, yes, you can put one over the top of another. I'll just give a demonstration of that. I've put one colour in. The best to go from light colours to dark over the top, like you do a watercolour. Step it in, however you want. You might mix some red in there as well. Just pull it in.
Oh, phenomenal.
See, you can get it out where the highlights come and see like that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I can see now what you said at the start, which you were influenced by Disney, these bright colours and Technicolor and things like that.
Absolutely. It's I owe most of my stuff. I owe, as you know, about puppetry. I learned from Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very profound influence on my life. Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic. Yes.
That's so fantastic. You've lived such a creative life and constantly learning new things and using different materials and teaching yourself.
I wouldn't be happy unless I was learning every morning. I'm learning something different. I don't stay in the past. I just keep moving.
Yeah.
A young mind is a learning mind. A mind that's accumulated is a dead mind.
So is that your tip for being creative, is learning, trying new things, growing?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Meet the moment, not the past, not a projected future, which is always based on the past, but live in the moment. And when you're drawing or painting, you live in the moment. And it's a very mystical experience, because if you're out doing a landscape, you lose yourself completely. You become one with the object you're painting. It's the only way I can describe it. You get so caught up in looking at the shapes and everything that are happening there, the colours and how you're going to interpret them, that you've lost yourself completely in it all. And you become that. That which you're doing. It's an extraordinary experience, yeah. It's a joyful experience, I might add. It's you feel very happy. I'm always singing and whistling while I'm painting. I enjoy it so much. It's a lovely thing to do. It expresses, but I would not think the people who may be watching this, I would ask them that they must be themselves, not somebody else. Never copy somebody else. Be yourself. Let your natural way of seeing. After all, this is only my way of seeing. Another artist will see in a totally different way. And you get this if you're in a life class, because you walk around after the morning session or something and you see everybody's work. They've got the same model, but everybody's work is different. And that's beautiful. That's beautiful because they're expressing how they feel and see it. And that's the thing. That's the thing for an artist to express. I mean, some artists get very slick and they keep turning out the same thing because they make a lot of money at it. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested to change. You look at somebody like Picasso. Picasso was a real artist. He could draw. He was a wonderful draftsman. His father was a professor of drawing in Madrid at the academy there. And he could draw beautifully. But then people wondered, why is he doing all this? Why is he doing? Because he's changing. He's seeing in a different way. He's looking in a different way. And that is a real artist. That is a real artist. Not holding on to what was, but living with the actual moment.
Oh, that is a brilliant way to, sadly, to end. We're almost coming to the end of our 45 minutes, which I feel like we could have Eric every week to give us tips and things like that. And there's so many more stories to hear. But I think that's so wonderful to hear about your creativity, your growth, and encouraging others as well to do their own thing, whether you're living in a care home, working in a care home, or anybody else who might be watching as well.
Have you got 1 moment just to tell you something?
Eric, always.
I was sitting doing a watercolour some years ago in a local park, Waterloo Park in London. Lovely park, and I've got a lovely church in the background above the trees and a lake there. And I'm sitting on a park bench and I'm painting this when 3 little boys came up to me. And they're high spirits. They were about 10 or 11 years of age. And boys, I've been one myself, they were pulling my leg about what I was doing. But one of them, he said, cool, he said, my art teacher couldn't paint that like that, he said. Any rate, the boys went off to play football and this particular boy sat down beside me. Why are you doing that, sir? Why do you do that? I'd said, you're really interested, aren't you? And I learned something in this process as well, I'll tell you afterwards. But he was so fascinated. And he sat with me until I was telling him it will only start to happen in the last 15 minutes. A good watercolor will only come about. Anyway, he did. And the other boys came back and he went off with them and he said, thank you very much, sir. I found that very interesting. He was only 10, I suppose. Anyway, that was the end of it until about 3 or 4 months later, I'm on a bus, sitting at the back of a bus. And this little boy came up to me and said, hello. And he said, you don't remember me? And before he said any more, his mother came up behind him and she said, he's never stopped talking about you.
Oh, wow.
And he said, and she said, we've taken him to the National Gallery because you advised it to see and bought him paints and all the materials and brushes. And he's as happy as the day is long. Now, that meant more to me than anything. And it demonstrates something that if you can encourage children, as I was encouraged by a teacher at school, if you can see them actually doing it, that's very important. Not to show you the finished work, but to actually see you doing it. Yeah, that meant more than anything I've ever done in my life.
Beautiful story.
Yeah.
And you've been an inspiration to us all today. And every week when we get to meet for Art Club with Vibrant Communities, we always look forward to your ideas and your insights to what we're talking about. And if you do want to find out more about Vibrant Communities, you can have a look at our Facebook and Twitter, or drop me an email as well. I'm Shula at vibrantcommunities.co.uk. And I want to have a huge thank you to Eric for sharing those wonderful stories and also just being so inspirational. I have one comment here. What great tips, Eric. Thank you. Be yourself, embrace your own creativity and expression. And someone else saying, just brilliant. What a fantastic session. Thank you. So lots of praise and thanks to you, Eric, for sharing those wonderful stories. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Will we be able to get this, by the way?
Yeah, definitely. We'll send it to you and make sure you have it as well. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. And we are doing another session tomorrow afternoon with the V&A. That's going to be a Zoom session, so it's going to be interactive. And it's going to be Nikki from the V&A talking about teacups. and some of the collection that they have. And if anyone wants to bring along their own teacup, please do. 2:30 tomorrow afternoon on Zoom. Come and have a chat with us. And yeah, do join us for that. That'd be wonderful.
Okay. Yeah. Is this going out on Facebook?
Yeah.
It is.